On a camp out one time, we had a bunch of tortilla chips for whatever reason, and tortilla chips aren't any good without anything else, so we didn't want to eat them just plain, so we wound up setting a lot of them on fire, and we decided that Flaming Chip was a good idea for a name for the record label.
I think that's what is great about FCR is it's not a traditional record label in that we sign contracts and have people finance our music and then we put it out for people to hear it. Basically what we do is we record it in our bedrooms, put it together, we know 10 people are going to hear it, and we still do it, and we still do it with a lot of passion.
There's several, I guess, record labels in the Louisville area, but we had a lot of friends in New Albany who kind of saw Louisville as like this. To us, it was like like Nashville or something. It was like too big for us, so we wanted to kind of create like a New Albany identity. Flaming Chip Records sort of kept going because Billy and Russell and myself, we all really cared about music, and we had lots of friends who were making music, but we didn't have the musical ability to participate in that way. So we thought our way of being connected to independent music in our area would be to help out other musicians, since we didn't really have the musical talent to participate in it in a performance capacity. I guess when things started out, there was, I guess the two main acts we had was, there was Visions of Cody.
It was kind of a given through mine and Derek's long-standing association with Russell Bryan and Anthony Bowman that we'd be associated with FCR, because we went back a long way.
You could hear us down the street, especially Kyle's drums, which were loud.
I think we all grew a lot as individuals when we were in Visions of Cody. That was just a joke.
And the other band at the time, I guess, was also Daniel Robison. He had a solo thing that he did that was called Plastic for President, that was sort of like a funny band. And
I went home on Windows Sound Recorder with a microphone bought at the computer store, and just recorded some really weird things.
Every summer, FCR would have like a huge event that was called Garage Fest that was in my parents' garage. They have a really, really big garage, and we would have like our own personal sort of like mini festival.
I played at Garage Fest 2000 as DJ Dade Apex. I wasn't really a DJ though, because I didn't have any turntable. Well, I had one, but it didn't work. All I had was a keyboard and a drum machine, and I can remember when I hit the button on the drum machine and for the bass, and it was like boom, and some kid was like, "That sounds like techno," and I knew I was awesome.
It was a really big moment, I guess, for us every year, for everyone to sort of display what they'd been doing. It was sort of like an artist showcase in a way, I guess. Our big break that never actually was a big break, but like we thought it was going to be our moment, was there was a local band in Louisville who was that they were well known, they were popular. They were called the Helgeson Story, and Russell knew their bass player, and they were in the middle of recording this big kind of grand concept album. The band ended up breaking up in the middle of recording the album, and they had 3 songs that were finished, and they were happy with those songs, but they weren't happy enough with it to stick with it and finish the album or anything. And through some weird circumstances, we were able to get our hands on those 3 tracks to release as an EP. We didn't realize that no matter how popular they were, if they weren't touring and performing with these songs, and if they weren't out there promoting the songs, then the EP wouldn't sell. And we expected it to be like this big thing where we got a lot of attention, and it really didn't go our way. And a little bit after that, I guess, was when Derek Arnold, who had been in Visions of Cody, kind of made friends with a few guys from Jeffersonville who were starting a band called Supergroup.
The Supergroup. Wow. What a failure.
You know, I was trying to support, you know, Derek as he was my friend, you know, and just trying to help out with music as you know, was the whole idea of FCR. They ended up changing their name somewhere along the lines to A Suburban Blood Drive, and we helped them put out their EP, which was called Everything Looks Prettier in the Movies, and we pressed like 1,000 copies of it, and it was our most well-packaged thing to date. Like it had, you know, we hired like a graphic designer that we knew or whatever, and he did all the artwork for it, and we had the whole cases pressed and everything, and they were like shrink wrapped. It was a really big deal, and we were really excited about it. But then pretty soon after that, the other 3 members of Suburban Blood Drive pretty much kicked Derek out under really suspicious circumstances, and they started like they kind of took a lot of money from me with the record sales and ended up like changing their whole sound and pretty much left me in a really bad way with a lot of unsold albums that are still in my parents' garage. And so that was sort of like the downfall of FCR for a long time. And then in 2005, everything just kind of came to life all of a sudden, all at once. Eric released his album Humored, and then Blake Thomas released a experimental album called Battery. Then I had an album that came out that was called Anthony Bowman Is Still Okay. In the middle of the big renaissance, we were finally able to secure like what I would say is our first like major gig in like a public venue, I guess. And we were able to sort of relocate Garage Fest to the Rudyard Kipling and still refer to it as Garage Fest, sort of like in paying tribute to our roots. Most people would view success as like sort of, you know, wide recognition and lots of, you know, money or whatever, and you know, we haven't had that, but I feel like over time there's been little moments of success that I think were like huge victories for us. The Hoax and Story CD was available at Ear Ecstasy and Better Days, and we you know, that was a big moment for us to be able to go into record stores that we've been shopping. We've been going there for years, buying the music that we loved, and then seeing the music that we helped to make there was a pretty big moment for us, I guess. Right now, I think is one of our most solid rosters to date, and as of right now, Eric Condon is still writing and recording stuff as a songwriter, and in addition to that, Richard Chandler is still doing his solo stuff, and I'm still doing solo stuff. I've got an album that's just about finished and another one that I'm starting to work on. And Blake Thomas is he's been doing a couple different things. I know Derek is working on some new stuff as well, and you know, he's been playing a lot of shows out, and it'll be interesting to see where he's going as well. Daniel can't stay away from music for too long.
Doing the Brisk, I've done 4 albums now for the Brisk, and that began as soon as I entered the Plastic Group President.
So you're still writing in
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that FCR is alive and well. I think all of us are still working on stuff. I still think that every time each of us put something out, it's better than the last thing we put out. And I think that's what keeps us going, is that we know that we keep getting better, and we keep trying to one-up each other. And I think that keeps, you know, when he put out Humored and I heard Bloom, I mean, I just wanted to do something better than that. And that's not because I want to get the best of these guys, it's because we're all part of the same thing. And I think that if we keep trying to top each other, eventually we're going to get really good.
You know, I mean, I feel like everybody that we work with, they're people who, they just love music and they just want to make music. And I think that that's the most important thing to us.